Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to the Front Door Show, brought to you by Four Fantastic Events. DJ Prieto here, and today I have a special guest in the house. One of my really long old school friends, Gringo. Hey, how you doing,
Hello.
man?
What's going on? Hello, everybody.
Hey,
What's
how you
going on?
doing? So
Doing
you,
great. Thank you.
so just in case, because I know very little people might not know you, but there's always that chance that somebody not might not know you. But can you do me a favor and please introduce yourself and let him kind of give you a kind of a who you are?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for this wonderful invite that you have, this great party, this great forum that you have for us. And my name is Jose Echevarria, and I'm also known as Gringo. My story really starts because back in the day, in the neighborhoods of Chicago, Northwest Side, some in the South Side, there were a lot of dance groups, and we used to compete instead of being in the streets and doing other things. It got really intense. Out of that experience, I was inspired to write a book, and then I became an author of The Real Dance Fever, which is this book right here to everyone. And then I had we were lucky, the All Star Dancers. That was my dance group. To have a very prestige theater here in Chicago, the Urban Theater Company of Chicago. They adapted it to a play, into a danceicle play, and it was directed by Raquel Torres, and it was written by the iconic playwright. She's amazing, Miranda Gonzalez, and then from there, all the old school stories came back to life again by the book, by word of mouth, all the experiences. I was always into writing music. I was always into dancing in the arts. I never stopped that even back then when I was with the dance groups. So I also have the experience of doing some writing, some producing, and always staying alive in the art.
Okay, Jose. So let's start. And I, as I explained to some other interviewers, I just wanted to let you know that when I talk, I'm going to dummy it down because I know something. Me and you may know what we're talking about, but the audience might not know what we're talking about. So just excuse the way it sounds. Just first of all, because I want to make sure that they understand the timing and everything else, because I think it's important that people get the actual what we're talking about or who we're talking about. We may know click and tick and this and that, but they won't know.
Right, right.
Just I just want to
Fully
make sure.
understand.
Okay, so how old were you when you first got and I shouldn't say when you first got the vibe to want to dance. I should say that you said, okay, you know what? I want to grab a couple people and let's dance publicly. How old were you when you did that?
Well, publicly, I did it in high school.
Okay.
And I was a very shy, introverted boy. I mean, no offense, curly hair. I was very to myself. It was when I went into Kelvin Park High School,
Okay.
and no one knew me. And it wasn't until they announced the talent show, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I gathered up some kids in school, and I directed and came up with this big dance routine to Tina Marie Behind the Groove, and that was 1979.
Wow.
79.
And yes. And that was and the music behind the groove was more like a funk kind
Yeah,
of stuff like that. And you were the choreographer. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? That you were the
yeah, that was actually my first choreography. I did a dance. I put some steps together. We were doing some lip sync. But now it's funny because even when I did that first big event, I call it a big event because in school, the events are small. But I had to go big. I had balloons thrown over the balcony. I had streamers. I So I don't know. I think it was from the beginning. I had that all-star kind of a passion in me, and then everyone from the school was like, what just happened?" And then I got known in the school, and then people wanted, "Hey, can I be in your group? And what do you do? Can we do some other things? And then it slowly started to come from that.
All right. So since you segued into that word, All Star, when did you officially call your group All Star? When did it actually happen? What year was that? Was that right after this, or was it,
Yeah. The name All Star originally comes from the All Star Productions uh, that my brother Lorenzo Sando, aka Pinky, did the first great World War battle. The DJs in the Aragon, Gavinci, Golden Sierra, did all those dances. I used to put posters up and see him. I was a little kid that was in the background. Um, and even before that, in my family, there was always art. My brother and my other two brothers and I, my sister, were raised by my great uncles. And one of them is Turin Acevedo. And he used to have the Spanish novelas on Channel 26 back in the day. And it was the only Latino station that we had for our folks to watch novelas. And he also had a show every Saturday. It was something similar to American Bandstand, and in the same building, the Soul Train was being recorded there in one of the floors. So I seen my uncle work, and it was like very vaudeville. He did the stage with Edie Chacon, Charitín Goico. Those were like very bombshells, Puerto Rican bombshells from back in the day. He would bring them over. So they were producing, and I would see my uncle do the producing. I would see my brother do the producing. My other brother used to play and still plays in bands, very musical. So I was the young one. And then I know that one particular day, I was hanging out with some of my friends, and my brother asked me, he says, my brother Pinky, Lorenzo, asked me, how would you like to do a routine for one of the events that I'm going to do at the Aragon Ballroom?
right?
And it was the Great World War Battle of the DJs. And it was called, there's a song that would go, I think you better get tough now, with John Wayne in the background. And we did our first dance and we loved it. I mean, the Aragon, can you imagine? Hey, we were ready. So it was a great experience. I think I was about 17 years old.
All right. So
Yeah.
you got a taste of the stage life, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I loved it.
So I mean, a taste of the stage life at 17 years old. Now, at that same time, I believe that's when you discover teen clubs. Is that correct? About that time, you were discovering that there's teen clubs out there. Okay, so I'm gathering the information here because I know at that time that your brother was doing what he was doing. El Cisneros had his little thing going on as well called. I think that was the first Janelles, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the very first Janelles, or were you at the second Janelles? When you first
Yeah,
met,
no, I got to go to all the Janelles really.
Okay.
From the one at Irving Park that he first had with the lit up floors. And so yeah, I was in that scene. Yeah, I sure was.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I mean that's what I was going to ask you. During the time that you did your thing with your brother, did you come as a regular, just a customer at the teen clubs with Al? Did you come as just a regular customer? You weren't in the dance group yet?
In the beginning, when I went to the first Janelle's at Irving Park that was on the second floor, no, I went as a customer. I just went to check it out. I was, looking at what was going on, having a good time. I think that there was another place called El Mirador.
Right.
And we used to, it was like a big hall play. It was a big hall, and they turned it into a dance place. I think it used to be, yeah, it was a big old empty hall space. And there, I met a lot of the dance groups. Then from there, we were all switching over to Janelle. Yeah.
Okay, all right, because I was there too. I was at Mirador. I used to always hang around with Mario Reyes because I was with him when I was there. So I remember that was, and not to take anything away from you, but I think, just like me, I think that was the first time where I seen organized dancers, and they kind of get that, you seen this is like, wow. And I remember, and again, not to take anything from you guys, I remember I decided to make a dance group where I was living called Soul Sonic Force. It was called Soul Sonic.
Nice.
but it was, dude, it was like a quick thought, and then real quick, because we are like, nah, man, we can't keep compete with these guys, because at the time I think the Golitos were already established. They were, radar was already established, and we're starting, and I could see where people were like, oh man, let's do something to do these dances, because I think it became very cool to see, a group of 15 to 20 people doing exactly the same thing, and that's where you could like, wow, this is so you're at Mirador. You already did the performance over at with Pinky. You already did that performance with Pinky already with your brother. All right.
Yeah.
So you kind of already come in there at Mirador, and you're already like, wow, this is all stars. You got you. If I'm not mistaken, it's almost like the westerns where the Colitos are on one side, and here comes the all stars
It
walking
was
in.
like that sometimes. It was like that sometimes.
No, I remember I was there, so I would see it.
Yeah.
and,
It was
and
like
and and there was the reds over there and the blues over there, the light blues over there. It's
it
funny
was
as I
like
say it, because you know what I'm talking about. Colito's always with the red pants, and the All Stars, you guys were always with your blue pants. So you kind of knew who was who walking into the
that's
place.
fine. Yeah, that's
So
right.
so then I think after Mirador, if I'm not mistaken, that's when the second Janelles on Fullerton kind of it was kind of into that's the time frame.
Right.
Then you guys now are established dance group with, you have your established dancers, and is this where, let's say, Troy comes into the picture, where you come in, you're the
Troy?
right, where does
Yeah,
that
the reason why I mentioned Mirador is because we before all the established, so to speak, with us and other dancers, we would do other dance performances and other battles and other halls around the neighborhood. There's one called the Nerfer Hall, the Northwest Hall, up and around, always moving. These were places that weren't always, every weekend. They had it every once in a while.
okay,
Finally, when we got to Mirador, everybody, it's exactly like that. It was like the Western. Those are the Culitos. Those are the All Stars. That's the imported. That's so and so. That's so and so. It got to that point. That's and Mirador was the first place was that I met Troy.
okay,
And the reason why I met Troy there was because there was a battle, the first battle between other dance groups, but Culitos imported and us. And I wanted to meet Troy. I didn't get to meet him. So that evening, I went up to him and he was dancing. He had a one of those terry cloth tennis bands around his head. He
okay.
had white ones around his wrist. He had a white Dago tee, a white tennis shoe. I mean, I remember, right? Little short tennis shirts, white gym shoes that he used to put that white beton, whatever it's called, that we used to put it on it with a white polish. That every time I got dirty, all we had to do was put the white polish on it.
Right, right.
So, and he had a terry cloth, and he kept wiping his sweat, and he was dancing, in place. Somebody said, "Hey, that's Troy." So I went up to him and I tapped him on the shoulder. He turned around and he was still dancing in place, wiping his sweat. And he told me, "Who are you?" And then I said, "Well, I'm Gringo, and I just wanted to meet you." And he says, "Okay, nice to meet you." He turned around and kept dancing. So I said, "Okay." Right. He was dancing. He kept dancing. As soon as I was leaving, he turned around and he snapped his finger. "Oh no, 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 no! You're gonna show me what you got. You're Gringo from the All Stars. Come on, come on. We're gonna dance." And I'm gonna tell you, the
And by
minute
the way, by the way, you do them so well. By the way.
uh, I love him. Listen, let me not interrupt, but let me say I'm gonna continue with the story. But I just want everyone to know that today is a very special day because today is Troy's birthday. And I know that we all love him. And right now, here I am talking about him, and when I have these goosebumps, and I thank you, dude, for allowing me to do this on his birthday.
No
You
problem.
are awesome. This is going to go in history because he's an icon. So I want to tell everyone that I am honored that we are celebrating and talking about our brother, our sister, our comedian that will live on. Thank
Yep.
you so much.
No problem. No problem. So
So
continue with the story. This is
made me
good.
dance with him that night all night, dude. And I used to be a very sheltered kid. That night from Mirador, he told me, "Come on, I'm gonna take you out to go some other places." We ended up going to Old Town. We went to other bars. We broke night. We were inseparable. And ever since that, I don't think there was not even competition between us. I was always dancing. I would do my dances. He would even learn the dances.
Right.
So I had that. That's memorable. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's Troy. That's Troy. Come on.
That's good.
That's Troy. I got my stories and memories of Troy too. Trust me. I got great stories. But all right, so does Troy initially join the group, or are you guys, how do you communicate with, like, come to the practice, we want you to be part of the team, or how's that work?
Well, Troy comes from his own dance group, which is Imported Taste.
Right.
So one of the things that I really love about back in the day was that we were so innocent and we were so raw at what we were doing that our own competition and our own secrets for dancing, there was no lockdown. I mean, you want to know something that I love, that I learned from my uncle, because he was really like very like old school and go do this, go do that. And I learned from my brother being the ultimate artist. That one time I had my dance groups, and one dancer came up to me and told me, "Hey, we're doing our dances, and you let anybody come on in and see what we're doing." And then I said, "What's wrong with that?" He goes, "They're going to copy our steps. They're going to copy what we're doing." And that stood in my mind. And I really didn't have, I said, let me go ask my brother. I mean, what could I do about that? And I asked him, I said, "Listen, since you're out there doing promoting, and you have a lot of clubs, and back then we had to staple the posters on the post and every corner and do promotion word of mouth." I said, "Well, how do you do it if somebody copies you?" He says, "I let them, because it they can imitate you, but they cannot be you. No one cannot do it exactly like you." And then he told me further. He says, "And once you show everybody your art lives, bro. Even if someone don't like you and they do it better than you inspired them to do it."
Right.
So I like that. I that kind of stood in my mind. So every time we used to have competition, see, back then I used to like that because our innocence, we wouldn't care. The group from Imported will come over. The days that they weren't rehearsing, they would end up at our practice, hanging out against the fence or the park, sitting down as I'm rehearsing with my group. And then when we were off, we would go to their rehearsal. But let me tell you something, when it was performance or battle, it was do or die. It was, it was like this, you not even. Yeah, they get into it.
Well,
But I like.
I was gonna say, I just remember all you guys. You guys were all good with each other, and I, like I said, I joke about the Western because that's the one thing I remember more than anything. Walking in and seeing that the group of the red pants and the blue pants, the yellow pants, and it was
It was
just like,
very West Side Story in Janelle. Yeah.
well, that's and then going back to Troy, I don't know if you know, that's how I don't know if you know, that's how I got Troy to dance with me. And Al will tell you the story about the Floor Masters. When we decided to do the Floor Masters, first thing I said, "Hey, we need somebody who's a dance group. We need a dance group. It just can't be us break dancers. It isn't going to do well." Because on the Floor Masters, I had 4 girls: Kathy, Vanessa, I want to say it's Barbara, and one other girl. It's hard to remember every because I had 126 members. But the 4 girls, so they couldn't break dance. So we wanted girls dance against girls, dancers dance against dancers, and we wanted poppers to dance against poppers and break dance against breakers. So I remember Troy. I said, "Troy, I got an idea." And basically we did the Beat It from Michael Jackson. Where the 2 come in and are competing with each other, and they're doing so then here comes the first dancer. And I remember Troy, I was doing with the big kick. He's got to do the big, he's got to do the big, he's got to do the big kick and stuff like that. And I think we had one of our guys, one of the girls, and we were just going back and forth. And I just remember, and practice time is not just 1 week of practice. You got, you're practicing for like at least 3 to 4 weeks. minimum. And I remember we were there for the practice, and Al would let us in. And I just remember it was like, I mean, and trust me, it was phenomenal, phenomenal. I mean, that was kind of our breakout moment for the floor masters as far as what we were trying to do. But I also remember when I first did it, as far as breakdancing, Radar was at Dancing Wheels, and he seen me do it for the first time, breakdancing. And of course, all of us used to go up to, I want to say it was Fullerton Beach. All of us used to hang out there between Fullerton and North Avenue. All of us used to hang out there. And oh yeah, all of us used to hang out there. And I remember Radar just asking me, dude, show me that footwork. Show me that footwork. Show me that footwork. And to me, it was funny because I knew he's not gonna get it. And I remember Radar's got some really long legs. I remember that. Radar's got some really long legs. So he's trying to do the footwork, and it just looks like, oh my God, no. Just stop. Stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. Yeah. And I just remember the good times. It was always a good time just because us breakdancers, we would get along with all your dancers and stuff like that. And even in Janelle's, the bigger Janelle's, obviously the Fullerton Janelle's, there was you guys were the dancers, and you had your section. And us breakdancers, we had our section like that. Then you had the regular.
There was that time, yeah.
And you had just the regular customers. The regular customers were like kind of doing the whole.
Yeah.
They were in awe because it was happening all over the place. It wasn't just, So I mean, it was good times. So
yeah, I loved it. I loved to me it was a big old lesson, because I often wonder how was it for a lot of the other dancers that had this opportunity that we had. For me, I know that back then there was competition, but to me, it was all about the art, dude. It was all about the art. Right. When the dance groups would say, when I used to love it when the Culitos imported and all the other dance groups would say, Gringo, why don't you do a dance for all of us? Amazing. I used to love that. And then I gave everybody, me and Radar would do parts, and Troy, I would love the part. It's just the dancing. And I think that's why I'm still doing this today. And I think that's why I'm honored that this story, we're still talking about it. Because, along the way, we remember the good times, but the good, the bad, and the ugly has to be a package, or the history won't be done. We need it all. And I love it. I wouldn't change it. Did I learn from it? Yeah. Have I made mistakes? Yeah. Do I have to learn along the way? Yeah. And now it's a whole new generation that's coming in, and the experience, Prieto, to see this on stage, amazing. To see my friend Troy being played on stage, to have the gift to show my friend, this is you on stage. Troy told me on the way home, not to get mushy, but Troy told me on the way home, this was like about 2 weeks before the play was about to close. He was in the back, back seat of the car. Everything was really quiet. And he says, you know what? I was just thinking about this, bitch. You know what? When I was a little girl, I was thinking, you know what? I want my life to be on Broadway. And he goes, and you did that, bitch. You just made my life. You did that there. And I said, yeah, Troy, here we are, So when he said that to me, and I was in the front seat, and it was total quiet when we were driving home. It was night. It was maybe like about, and he was tired, and I think it was maybe like about 10:30 because we had just finished watching. We had just came from the play, and he was tired, and he was in the back seat, and I said he was thinking about it. So I am honored. I am proud that Radar went. Radar went with a lot of the guys. Importis went. Everyone went, despite some rivalries, some battles. Maybe it's because I lost my hair, but I don't think about that. I think about like we're here and we're just giving it history. I think that every sports and every genre has got their battles. You want your certificates. You want your 5-foot trophies. But this experience that has got me to this, even where I'm sitting with you, dude, talking about this. I remember when you came up to me at Mikey O's event, and you shook my hand, and you told me, oh, you wanted to talk to me, and then all the ideas you had, and I was thinking, wow, this is amazing that I get to talk to people about this story that inspired all of us. And there's a lot of people. This is not just my story, is about all of us. It's about the DJs, because the reason why I thank you is because even though your forum is mainly for DJs, we couldn't live without the DJs. The DJs were our rock stars. I mean, Sly Hula Fox. I know he's watching, because dude, he's been coaching me all this week on what to tell you. And I love you. I love you, Sly. And I'm going to talk to everybody about all your Chinese rice and how we met. We'll talk about that too. But Pablo Gonzalez, you know that he was the first one that hired the All-Stars for our first paid gig job.
Right.
And for us to get a gig that was, what I'm saying, was like, we felt like big time. So all these DJs, we had Kenny Jason, that's a guy that he was always, with us. So all these DJs, Benny, so we all fed off each other.
Right.
And because of that, I'm proud. The All-Star dancers, to me, right now at this stage, at my age, when I resume everything, I say I'm really proud of them, because they made history. They're the first and only dance group, Chicago old school dance group, with the 2 books, and an adapted play, a danceable play. That's history. Right. Because we talk about so many things that are going on, but hey, we did that, dude. And I'm proud of them. And we did that. We did that. You did that. We all did that. The DJs did that. The dancers, the memories of what we're keeping alive. So, right. My hat goes off to you and people like you that are sitting back and taking the time to say, listen, guys, America out there, we got something for you. We're gonna archive this, good, bad, or ugly. And that's your magic wand that's giving me a voice. You know what I'm saying? So I thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I got a trivia question for you. Maybe I've been kind of wondering this, and when I mention it, you're probably going to be like, I don't know, but I know. Maybe somebody knows. Maybe somebody out there knows. Who started I Want to Thank You? The last song of Janelle's, who started that? Who started the whole line dancing of I Want to Thank You at the very end of the night?
Well,
see, because I've asked a couple of people the question.
First of all, why do you ask that? It's funny that you're thinking about that.
Well, because I that was something that it was always there, and it was like, and
did you enjoy it? Did you like that energy?
I was part of it. What have you been talking about? I was part of it.
I don't know why. I'm probably gonna get some hate, man. But you know what? I first of all, I know that my recollection. I remember Al was standing next to me one time, right on the when the floors were all lit, and that was coming on. And he even asked. He says, "What do you think?" I'm thinking about having this played every night. And then I said, "I like it. I like it." He goes, "I like the message." So I do remember that encounter with me and him, because he told me that. But to me, I was thinking, bitch, what message? We need some music before we get off here. We want to go with a band. And then it's funny, because every time, and I love it, because that was our closing song. I want to thank you. But what I thought it was funny, because every time the night was over, you can tell the people that were really worn out, because they will kind of drag themselves to the dance floor, and then they will go. But it was like a ritual. It's like, no matter if you had energy, and if you didn't have energy, you will come out from the washroom, you will come out from the booth. It's like, get on, because this is our last dance of the night. Right. But I don't know who did, but I know that Al mentioned it to me one time, and he liked it.
That's what. And I asked Al. Al didn't know. He didn't think it was him. Yeah. He didn't think it was him. But someone had to do it. Somebody had to. I don't know if it was one of the DJs. And right. I asked Mario. He doesn't know either. So
because I remember that. Yeah, because I used to mention. I used to tell Troy, like, why aren't they going to put another song? But I remember that day that I was standing next to me. He told me, what do you think, Gringo? I'm thinking of having this song for ending the night. And then I said, you are? And he said, yeah. And he goes, I like the message. And then the reason why I remember that, because when he told me, I like the message, I was thinking, well, then let me really listen to the song. What is the message? And then that's when I said, oh, okay, I get it. I want, and it was deep. And the reason why it was deep, because I was thinking, I never knew I was that deep. He was like,
No, no, no. You know what? That's why it's kind of shocking. Not to say anything bad against Al,
nah.
but I didn't think he was that insightful.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. But he has his moments.
Like he'd like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about something to be an iconic song for the rest of the night. No, he was like,
yeah.
What the hell? Play the song. I don't care. He was,
Yeah. It's a good question. It's really good. It's really good trivia because, I've always thought of it back then when I was at Janelle, I used to think of it. Oh, we're gonna do this again. But then after a while, it was like if we didn't hear that song, it wasn't like we were all together. It was like a prayer. It was like the last song was a prayer for us.
And how appropriate is it for today's music, right? How appropriate is it? So I mean that's how appropriate, So besides that song, was there any other things that we did? I say things that we did that you could say that was iconic during that time that we did. I mean, a certain song that was played that we all looked like, okay, this is the time to whoop. We all jumped on the floor.
As far as music?
Yeah, music, or just like if there was a certain time that everybody knew the song was going to be played. Was there anything?
Oh man, amazing. Well, I write about that in my book because it didn't matter where we were, in the washroom, wherever we were, and somewhere in the building in Janelle's, when certain songs would come out or certain breakdowns. There's one called, and I don't know who did it, but it's called The Deputy of Love. And There for the Grace of God. Those songs would come out and we would swarm out. We would just run to those. Were like it was funny because back then there were certain songs that we already knew that we're going to have to go there. And the DJs knew that. They knew, okay, I'm going to get these people running to the dance floor,
Right.
And that's why we would go after the DJs, because they knew how to keep us up at a certain level during the night,
right.
Or we were gone, So and a lot of the dance groups also had their own particular music style that they like to get into.
No, I that's what I'm just remembering, because I remember that would be like it would go into a plateau when in the course of the night, and then there would be sound play, and as soon as you heard the first beat of There Before the Grace of God, I remember I would hear screams. They run up to the dance floor. They would just
because anything Lolita Holloway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It would get
And I asked Mike Swaz about this, and I'm going to ask you, since you were the choreographer, and particularly with you, I would watch your routines, and I was amazed at a lot of stuff that you would do, because there would be mixes of songs, like the songs would slice. Did you have a particular DJ that you worked with, or did you guys make that up as you went along, like tape, and you just mix it together?
I was very lucky because in the beginning, very close, he's a cousin of mine, and he used to have two boombox. Back then we had the big radio boombox with the double cassettes. Well, it had missing a lot of buttons, and I don't know how he did it, but like some of them had a pliers holding it, another one had different. He was able to work with it, and he used to do mixes, but he would do them cassette to cassette, and he would do it with the breakdown, with the cut, and then that's how he would put it together. I was so used to the way he would do it in the breakdowns that he would put together for us for the songs. A lot of the other dance group would ask me, they were, hey, who does your music and who puts it together? I like the fact that the music was slamming, mix after another, and especially to keep the momentum up there.
Right, because that's what I remember that, and it was, to me, it was, I thought it was way ahead of the time, in a sense. But you're thinking, because you're seeing that you guys would change whatever you guys were doing as far as routine, and then here comes the slam of the other song,
Yeah.
and you guys would do whatever you do, and then here comes another slam song. And I
Yeah.
remember that, and I says, no man, that's got to be somebody doing it for him, you know. And I think you were probably the one of the first groups that I've ever seen do that, because a lot of groups would just do the whole song, you know, and then and there would be
You know,
breaks.
yeah, they would ask me like for where'd you get the song or who did the mixes, and that's why I got to give a shout out because his name is Frank Diaz, and he was the first All Star DJ. After
Okay.
that was Lugo Rosado that used to do songs for us, a lot
Okay,
of songs.
all right. So that's that, you know, I think that's an important part of the history that
It was magical how he can do that with no turntable, just cassettes and two radios. That's it.
right. And you know, one of the guys is saying those routines, you know, the other fact that I'm going to ask, and you know, and I say the same thing about my breakdancing days. We were just unfortunate that we didn't have everything recorded. Nothing on everything was on beta, stuff like that. So I think I got a recording and somebody sent me, and you can see that it's somebody mom had a recording for us way back in the stage, and you see people like dancing in front, and you just maybe see our head or our feet going up, but you never got to see the routine, and it's unfortunate that we did not have that. And your thing you sent out, your YouTube thing that you sent out today or yesterday, I was noticing that you had some of the, but those were more later routines, right? You didn't have anything. Did you have anything from that time or archived or anything that you had?
I know there's some videos out there. I personally don't have anything from that time. I would love to if I have my videos out there, you know, and someone has it. I would love to get those videos and they
Well,
can archive them.
let's put a message out there. If you're
Yeah,
listening,
history. We're all in this together. You know, it's like art. You know, if you hide it, no one's gonna see it. We all gotta share it. I That's one of the reasons why, you know, especially what we're doing here, because you know those videos and the documentaries are very interesting to see this, and for a lot of and for this community, because you know what, DJ Preto, everything that you're doing, there's a lot of other DJs that have not communicated with each other, or they don't know of each other. This forum gives that opportunity also as
right.
artists and DJs. So that's pretty cool in itself for us to have something like that.
Well, I mean, you know what, Jose, I don't think me and you have communicated about this, but my first 4 interviews, I seen a bigger picture, what was going on. Honestly, the idea of doing this show was to talk about history. Yes, I wanted. The first guy I had was a new guy. Second guy was Mario Reyes. The third guy was not a new guy, but he was a, you know, Johnny Guzman. He had his technical aspect of it, and then by the fourth one, I said, you know, one of the things of the very common denominators that I'm seeing here, and I had to look at it from my point of view as well, because I started in this business as a DJ and a dancer, and not particularly a dancer like you were, but a dancer, a break dancer. And yes, I did choreography as well. I mean, as a break dancer, you have to do choreography. So it's just, choreography is choreography. I don't care what anybody says, choreography. In fact, just to jump forward, uh, Andy Lyric Cruz, when he found out that I choreographed a lot of the things, he brought me over because he was just amazed. He could not believe that here I'm DJ Prieto as a choreographer. And I said, yeah, I was choreographing the dancers for the Tuesday Night Boxing. I choreographed all the shows and stuff like that. Plenty of shows I've choreographed. But that's when you become a choreographer, just like you become a choreographer, you understand music, musicality. You understand. I mean, I'm sure you can DJ as well. You know that you understand that philosophy, and that's part of this. What I realized in doing these shows, there are 4 basic factors that have created this industry of what we're in today. The team promoters, basically, you know, between Al and Tony Batoy, Pablo Gonzalez, the dance groups, and 2 different styles of dance groups, but they are both affected. That's the you guys, the Culitos, All Stars, Imported Taste, all the you call them freestyle dancers and stuff like that. And then you had the break dancers. I was amazed that one of the guys that sent me a list of all the breakdancers, like 30 groups, 30 breakdancing groups that were created in Chicago. That's huge. From your knowledge, how many dance groups do you think were created in that scene? Do you have a number that you kind of think that was created?
So, really good question, man. When I think of the era, and I sum it up, and when I was doing the research for my books, I always wanted, and I still do, want to include everyone because they're part of it. Even dance groups that I don't remember. But there used to be quite a bit of dance groups, and just the other day I was trying to remember a whole bunch of, how many were they? So off the bat, when you say 30, I don't know, maybe around that or maybe less than that. But I know there were.
I know there were 30 breakdancing groups. That I know for a fact. There were 30 breakdancing groups. I'm talking about of your style dancing groups.
I think there has to be probably more than that because I know everywhere we went there was a dance. Everywhere we went there was every school had a dance group. Everyone had their own little, name of their group. I didn't knock it because everyone was proud, but there were quite a bit. So if you're telling me you had 30 dance breaking groups, and back then the dance groups were so popular everywhere, every church, Calvin, Lane Tech, all these schools, Holy Trinity, all of them. So yeah, I mean, there's got to be more than 30 then. Absolutely.
Right. That's what I wanted. So we got to figure it out. We gotta, find that out because those are unknowns and we need to know as far as and I'm going to go back to what I was saying. And then there's you, Radar, Troy. Basically, there has to be some sort of, and part of this is going to be knowing that there's going to be some recognition in the future for you guys, because I think, now that Troy's gone, God rest his soul, he with your play, he got recognized, right? And I think that's great. That's beautiful. But I think between you,
my book.
Your book.
Because the play was written by Miranda Gonzalez, adapted from my book. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying, but there was some recognition in the fact that right. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that there has to be in Chicago, there has to be some recognition for you guys. I believe that just like in 2019, I got recognized from the Chicago Salsa Congress. And thank you, guys, Rosita and Saladin, for doing that to me as the Keeper of the Flame Award that I got received from. And there was recognition that I was doing what I'm doing in the salsa scene, and that felt good. That felt great. But I think for Chicago, there has to be some recognition in the fact that between you, Radar, Tony Batoy, Al Cisneros, Pablo Gonzalez, I think all you guys need to be recognized, and there has to be some sort of forum that we need to create. And that's really why I'm doing this, because I'm looking forward into creating that forum. I'm going to do it. And I'm telling you that, I'm telling everybody ahead of time, I'm going to do it. Because of this, all this and happening and everything else, I'm going to forefront this. So I just want to be ready. Okay, Gringo, be ready for this.
Well, that sounds exciting. And I would be more than honored to be standing there next to my friends and this era that has kept us fed till today. So that's number one. And then to know that we are part of something that's being recognized also is amazing.
You guys also inspired. Let's be honest with you. Music wise, DJ wise, you inspired all the DJs for making their music and stuff like that. I was talking about what was the guy's name? The gay police officer and how
John Martin.
John Martin.
Yeah, and the other security guard was Rico Pizarro. Also that's in music.
Right,
yes.
Exactly. So what I'm saying, and then we talk about girls out on the floor, move your colito and stuff like that. Exactly. Jesse Velez, all these are inspirations, and I think that between all of that has inspired a lot of DJs to do what they're doing. I mean, that's it. You know, I think it goes hand in hand. It's all like this. Everything when it comes to it, the promoters, the DJs, the dancers, it has created the Chicago scene. And I always said it because, and I'm telling you this because I see how influence. You know, Beatrice is one of your dancers, and I seen how the dancers have gravitated into the salsa scene as well. So a lot of the dancers back then are become salsa dancers as well, and it just become, because once you dance, you just love dancing, and you know, and then guess what? You're especially when it comes to salsa, then you're a dancer, you know, and you can't do the same moves that you used to do back in the, when
Art
you
is
did
art.
it.
Yeah. It keeps you fed. It keeps you, yeah, absolutely.
Right, but then you know, then guess what? Here's Beatrice has her kids dancing and so forth, and it goes on and on and on. And I think that's where this Chicago dance has to be celebrated. And I think that's what, you know, and especially now, what's going on today in the world, we need it more than now in Chicago. So
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know, you know what I loved about, you know, you're talking about this being recognized and what we need more in the world. You know, one of the things, my experience when I seen the dancehall play that was presented by the Urban Theater, that I repeat that Miranda Gonzalez wrote. One of the things that amazed me, because I was excited for you and for all of our brothers and sisters and everyone that's, you know, normally that we know, go see it. But when I was in that theater and there was faces that I don't know from all shades and colors crying and laughing along with what we did, and then wanting to know more about us, that was totally different. Because I figured that, well, you know, this is going to be pretty exciting and I'm going to have a lot of the people from back in the day going to come and see it. But people that were coming up to us that want to know, you know, about the music, and other new generations want to know, like, well, you know, how was it, and the names of the music. So that experience coming out into the world, yeah, it's needed more.
well, and I think that's important because I know that one of my best friends, her name is Vanessa Sosa, literally grew up with me. She was one of the floor masters, one of the female girls that danced with me. She brought her daughter to the play. Her
Uh-huh.
daughter doesn't know anything of, you know, she was only 3 years old, 4 years old, and she was still dancing, but she really did not know anything that was going on. But she grew, just like my daughter, grew up enough to know the old school culture. I knew, and obviously, you know, as a parent, you want to show this is what I did. This is, and you know, and to have that inspire the new generation coming in, because now you're talking 3 generations to go
Yeah.
come and start it. So I think whatever we do, you know, and I get it too from I we're talking to Rosita and Saladin, excuse me, Rosita and Saladin from the Salsa Congress. We talk about that. We sit and talk about what we're doing because they're about 20 years older than I am, 15, 20 years older than I am. Then me, my generation, and we talk about the generation. But look at the kids that are getting into the scene now. There's plenty of people out there that are doing scene and dancing and getting into the music and getting into DJing, and still break dancers are out there. Plenty of them. So I know that's important for us to take it to the next generation. To
Yeah. It's
basically
all
to,
about, yeah, it's nourish them, give them information, give them these tools, let them see these archives, let them see what we're doing, what we've done, and take it and run with it and turn it upside down, turn it inside out, make it your own. You know, every generation's got their own rebellion. You know, somebody out there is going to hear your interview, is going to hear a song, is going to see a painting. The inspiration comes when you least expect it. But that person will be the one that will set it aside. That person's gonna go, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn it upside down, inside out, and I'm gonna do this. It's art either way, and it's gonna
yep,
take us.
yep,
We give a little bit back.
right.
So yeah,
So
absolutely.
so let's talk about you writing a book now. Let's talk about that because some people might not know about that. So how did that come to become?
That came up because I would run into quite a bit of people on the streets and here and there, and then when we would start talking, they would say, "Hey, are you so and so, or are you from back then, or hey, I remember this place or whatnot." And every time I would bump into someone, either the story was changed, or it was glorified, or it was exaggerated, or I was like, I was there, and it was, so. But I loved it because I could see that we wanted a little bit more. And there was a gap there where everyone was like in their own. Even when MySpace came out, it was a little bit. Everyone wasn't as together. There weren't. It was like when MySpace started coming in the beginning, then we all started coming in together. I know that in 2005, I did my first reunion with the dance groups. And
Okay,
before 2005, I don't think we were together for about 35 years, 30 years.
right.
So the book came out. I challenged myself. And I'm going to tell everyone that's listening to you out there this. I challenged myself because I never thought that I can dream big, but there's always a bigger dream for us, dude, when we least expect. So I wasn't the best student, say. Art is my number one love. And when I challenged myself to write this book, I was like, how am I going to do this? And the reason why I wanted to do it, because I asked the number one thing that I asked myself. I remember one morning I got up and I was walking by the park and I asked myself, Gringo, if you do not write this book in 4 years from now, or maybe 5 years from now, you're going to be saying the same thing. Gringo, you didn't write that book 4 years ago, and 4 years ago went really fast. So I didn't want to see myself, man, I don't want to waste that time. Have I ever done something like that? Never.
Right.
Um, the manuscript that I wrote was so big and so thick, and then it took me. The beginning of my writing was a good process of 3 years, and it was at three to four. I was at For the book to be finished, it was a good 4.5 years because it was like
Right.
everything.
All right.
But for the manuscript, it was a good 3 years, and that's because I had a journal with me for 3 years everywhere I went. If I would go to Puerto Rico, if I went to a party, there was thoughts, there was memories, there was years. I needed dances, I needed music, I needed archives, I needed to do research, and I needed that book with me at all times. So then finally, when I got that, I got all the information out and all the stories out, and I decided to write this. I wanted to make it a gift for all of us because there was nothing written. I mean, nothing that we can talk about, nothing that we can say from this side of town. The music, these music that I went in and I started researching the year and the name of these songs that I write about. These DJs that actually some of the DJs, because I don't remember, there's so many and they're all wonderful. And I'm sorry if I forgot you, but we all, you all talented. But some of the DJs that I give thanks to in the book at the end of that were there. So all that wrapped up, I said, I'm gonna take that chance and I'm gonna try this. It was a challenge, and each character, each story to this book is a part of my life. So yeah, it's wonderful.
So I want to make sure people understand. So the book is basically is it a documentary about what you went through? Is that what the book exactly is? A documentary of
Yeah. Well, it's a true story. It's my memoirs.
okay,
So it's my memoirs according to the way my story, the way I lived it, and the way my accounts to my story of what I went through uh, with each character, each certain moments in life, and so on. It's actually the experience of young kids in the inner city streets of Chicago, drugs, staying away from drugs, gang violence, learning art, and staying together. Those experience along came the '80s and the styles and the big hair and the shoulder pads. You got all the drama, all the experience of of illnesses and betrayal. Book one actually is it's like in the beginning of the 80s, very new, very innocent. And book two continues the story, gets a little darker because we're older now. Other things happen, people change, and things happen a little darker. And that's how both books come together.
So you mentioned something, and I'm going to bring it up. Uh, did you? And the reason why I'm asking, because I could tell you my experience coming from you, being the head of a group. Did you have anybody ever come up to you and tell you that you saved their lives?
I, I don't know if, back then, me myself, I was young, immature. But one of the things that the All Stars taught me real early was that, in the beginning, when I want, when I had the All Stars, I thought that I was part of their friendship. I was, but I was really their mentor, their leader. So there was a time that I would hang with them, and when I was their friends, I think it was a little, I wasn't as inviting as being a friend to them. And what I mean by that is you need someone to give you that point and to say, no, don't do this and do this. So yeah, I think there was some times because I used to go through a lot of questions, well, puberty, sex, drugs, gangs. And when they asked me those questions, um, I used to think, well, what am I gonna do? I mean, I was young, inexperienced
Right.
also, but I knew that I had to give them an honest answer, and I had to believe in all their dreams, no matter how far they were or how silly people might think they were. I had to look them in the eye and believe in them because they were believing in mine.
Right.
And if I had them there, believing in my dreams and hammering them, and I'm gonna say, I want you to jump from the ceiling and come and do a split and turn around, and they're gonna look at me and look, well, what does he want me to do that for? But I'm looking at him, but believe in me. Well, I also have to believe in them when they tell me, Gringo, I'm scared. Or Gringo, I don't know if I can do this. Somebody asked me to do this. Should I do this? Or Gringo, my stepfather touched me the wrong way. Gringo, do you think that I can sleep in your house because my parents are, getting overloaded today? Or Gringo, can I hand? I had them all.
Right.
Sometimes I had some kids that when practice was over, they would tell me, "Hey, can I pick up and clean?" And they would follow me all the way home, and we would go home, and then when I would notice they were sleeping in the sofa, I can tell, So that's why I knew to myself, I can't mess around with these kids, even though I was one myself,
Right.
because it will bite me in the behind one day, and they will come to say, I came to you.
So what I guess I was asking was, I know that's what happened on it, but I'm talking about them today, them as their age today. Has anyone ever come up to you and said, "Thank you, Gringo, for what you've done," or "Thank you
Oh,
for,"
absolutely.
you
Not
know?
saving my life because I don't think I've saved. I wouldn't even. I've gone that, but I've had. Yeah, I've had them. I've had quite a bit of them tell me with their kids and their grandkids. Tell me, Gringo, thank you for what you did. And I had one particular dancer tell her grandkids, "This is." He used to scream at me when I didn't get the steps, but then when I got it, he used to give me big hugs. I have. It makes me really proud when I see these men that are now grandfathers, and they would tell me these stories. I'm honored by that to see all these new branches, like you said, these other new generations that branch out, and how proud they are when they want to tell their wives or new partners, or they want to tell their kids or grandkids, look what I used to do or how he used to treat me. There was one time that after all this finished, I didn't know if I made a difference. I didn't know if I really doubted. I really didn't. I moved on. I think that there was a time that I moved on for a couple of years that when someone would say, "Hey, did you used to?" And I would say, "No, maybe not." And I wouldn't get into it because I thought to myself, "Well, come on, Gringo, all you did was dance. You know, you were in the neighborhood. You didn't save a life. You didn't do heart surgery. You all you did was this. But then as time went on, and then I kept meeting a lot of these adults, these boys and girls that are now men and women from our community, and they can say, you know, we did this, and really feel and have that passion. We're telling the new generation, now it's your turn. You do it, and you love it, and you do it. Don't be ashamed and feel proud. We did it. Sometimes some other young people will hear us talk, and then they'll say, "Oh man, they did this. They didn't do that. Why did you do it?" They always wanted to chat. They always want to challenge us. But then they're gonna have their time in life when they're gonna
Well,
tell.
and that's why I think it's important, because I think what, you know, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have a blueprint, we didn't have anything to, to tell us how to do this. I mean, like the way I look at it, look at myself personally, I had 126 members, right? I was 16 years old, 17 years old, having a responsible basically for 126 members. Who, how do you handle that? How do you do that? And I did, and it was just, I did it things to basically like, wow, we gotta do something about this, because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like you said about pay gigs and stuff like that, that was, obviously all of us wanted to get paid or something. We were at that age of 17 and 18 years old that $20 would be like, oh my God, that's gonna take us for a week per se, or whatever. And just to say that, oh, guess what? We're and I would say, oh, they're gonna pay us $200 for a performance. Man, that was gold. That was great gold for us. But like I said, we didn't have an expert telling us how to do things, or
Right.
tell us how to be a manager, a choreographer, a costume designer, graphic designer, and all of the other things that we did, in this life that we were creating, and should I say, this culture that we created, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and I think that speaks volume into what we've done, because you are a culture creator. And I don't think if anybody's ever told you that you created a culture, you created a culture, and that in itself is, it should be recognized and should be, celebrated and stuff like that. And I think there should be, not to get so political about this, but I think that's what's missing in the communities now, is because you don't have people who are culture motivators, or culture, they're not creative in that way. And I think the reason why we became who we became, because we didn't have all these tools. We used our brain and our personality to get people together. And that takes a lot more than on Facebook. That takes a lot more than sending out
Yeah.
emails and stuff like that, because we didn't have that. We
Right.
had the one-on-one with everybody. And I think that made it more organic. And I think that's why we are here, what we're doing and talking about today, because organically we have reached people, thousands and thousands of people,
Yeah.
because of our
So amazing. Yeah.
organic communication with people. And I think that's what, again, it goes back to what I think's been missing for a long time. I don't care if you're a politician, if you don't have that organic, connection with people and stuff like that. Because I mean, trust me, the last thing I want to be do is a politician. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to be. But I think for people like you, it's important. Hear your voice, write the book, all the stuff that you've done. I think this is what Chicago needs. And now let's fast forward to the book with you. What
Uh-huh.
happens after the book, after part one and part two? What happens after that with you?
Well, after when the book was done, it took a while because again, I'm new at this. I never did wrote a book in my life, so I didn't even know what to do with it. I know I had my book, but then again, life has a way of putting you there. I was overthinking it. I was thinking, where am I going to go with my book? Who am I going to show it? Who's going to see it? And the first thing that came to my mind, I was thinking, okay, what should I do? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it to my people. I'm going to take it to where it should be heard. And then one particular day, I went to this play at the Urban Theater, and then that's how at the Urban Theater Company in Chicago, I was invited to see this other play, and one this lady named Hilda Fantini, she invited me, and and then I told her I want to show her my book, and it so happened that her daughter was one of my all stars. I didn't even know that. And right there at the theater, she was presenting my book to Miranda Gonzalez, which is the writer of the play, and they announced the play right there. They just That's how it happened. She just grabbed the book and she said, "You're the author." I said, "Yeah, I'm the author." And she said, "This is what we've been looking for. This is the play that we're gonna do next." And that's how fast, not fast, but that's like in a blink of an eye. I was thinking, did this just happen? Like, and that experience, that journey of going through that was amazing. And I gotta tell everyone that this story is not, it's not finished. I would love for everyone that gets a chance to pick up the book and really go through the book. You're gonna be amazed. All the songs that are in the book, the years, the titles, historical venues that I mentioned here in Chicago. Some of them are not even there no more. These DJs, our slang that we used to talk, how we used to talk, the fashion we used to wear. I mean, I'm really
No,
I mean,
I remember the slang. That was yeah.
and was, the fashion with the shoulder pads and the big hairspray, and it was all there, and it's all chronicled there. And it gives you an insight on who we were. Yes, we were laughing, and yes, we danced. There's some emotional, there's some moments that we need each other's strength, but I think they're gonna enjoy it, and it's part of history. It's part of our history, and it's not like I'm trying to hack a book. No, the book is, it's just a story that I want you to connect with. That's what I would love for people to get into. The same way we have this conversation, because when you see the Dantical play, you have one condensed version, but when you read the book, you get to meet these people that are actually alive still, and art. So yeah, it's a wonderful experience. The
Well,
book has been.
that's another thing, Gringo, that I wanted to tell you. That's why I'm going to go do the forum that I'm going to do, because I think people really need to meet the people who are still alive. Honestly, as far as I can put them on this video and talk to them, but to see them one on one, to be this, everybody that we're talking to, everybody, and I think this is the only way that I can see, honestly, people coming from all over the world. God bless the Hot Mix Five for getting their street sign on the what you call it. But I think doing the forum to get these people, everybody involved at one place and do everything like that, I think that will bring in people from all over the world to come meet the actual creators of Chicago dance. And I don't mean just the music aspect, but I'm Chicago, the dance aspect of it, the DJs, the
Right.
producers, the promoters, everybody, and just and to create that 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 uh that format for everybody to come to Chicago and because honestly, with Troy passing, Troy's gone, and it's really sad. But obviously we're going to honor him. But I want to make sure that we're coming at a time, man, that we're not going to be around too long. I'm sorry to say this. I mean, and not to be morbid about this, but I'm just
I
saying,
hear you loud and clear.
I think this is a time for us to make sure that why everybody's here. Let's bring everybody together as a reunion, like you did with your reunion, but basically do it on a scale of 10 times, as a reunion. I think that's what's called.
I think that sounds awesome. Yeah.
Um, where after the play is done, what's your because now COVID hits, right? What was your focus, or where were you going with this everything?
As far as the book, the story.
As far as the book, were you doing a part three? Were you doing another play, or were you go? Were you?
Well, oh, I see. Well, after the play, well, first of all, after the play, we never know because there were plans for the play to be running this summer maybe, and maybe, but things, a lot of things are changing. So hopefully in the future there might be some plans for it to come back. Who knows?
Okay,
We'll have some discussions over that. We'll see how that happens. And then what happened after that? I started writing some music. Those are some music that I sent you. I was doing some music with a great producer, DJ Numer Dan, and then I have featured Ariel Reynolds, and this is
okay.
the CD that she's a dynamite singer.
Is
Um,
that the girl I met over at Joe's Live?
yeah, yeah, that's her.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, yes.
And I wrote 14 soulful house songs, and I produced them with DJ Numudan. And I don't say he's an upcoming producer because he's doing some really good things and really good producing. So I'm honored to do that with him. But what I do have planned, it's never ending. I mean, as far as the story for that we've been doing with this book, who knows? There's other things involved that I have planned for that. That will extend from the book. But right now, it's too early to say and to throw it out there. But still, got some plans to try to do some other things, screen wise with the book, maybe screenwriting with the book, some kind of idea with it. Yeah, it won't stop there. And like you said, it'll be soon. It'll be soon. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing till the end. I'm gonna do it till
Right.
my mind can keep creating and can see colors, and until I can dance and music, and I'm gonna keep doing what I do it because that's what has kept me alive.
Right.
So I got some other ideas for the Real Dance Fever, and some other negotiations that I'm going through, but they're not all, still put together.
Well, hopefully, maybe there'll be a movie in this.
Yeah, that
I mean,
out there
obviously, that would be
to the universe. Absolutely, that'll be that's my next plan. Throwing it out there to the world, trying to get a decent idea for it, a screenplay and whatnot. Aside from that, I've been working on another play, but it's Spanish culture play regarding
right.
my uncle from back in the day, Turin Acevedo and Mike Acevedo. They used to do their old timers and they used to do some great music. And that's what I'm trying to keep the roots.
Right, right, right. All right. Well, I mean, we're coming up to. I mean, it's the hours. The hour goes by quick. I know that. With everybody signing on, everybody listening to this, any last words you want to say to anybody? You want to say anything? You know.
Yeah. First of all, thank you again. Thank you for this. I want to thank everybody, every old school DJ, dancer, every old school lover, every art lover. Listen, we're doing this for you. We're doing this to inspire you. We're doing this so you can keep it going. I honor you and I thank you for reading our stories, for listening to our music, listening to our conversations, and passing them on. And I want to tell my all star dancers, I am proud of you. All the dance groups, thank you for being in the story. All the DJs, thank you for playing the music. We can't do it without you. And I also want to give a special shout out to DJ Sly Hula Hula Fox. He's getting strong, and soon I'll be talking to him. I talk to him almost every day, and I love you, buddy, and everyone out here loves you. Thank you.
And I'd like to say happy birthday to Troy as well. That's
Happy
happy
birthday, Troy.
happy birthday, Troy. So thank you very much, Jose. Appreciate it, guys. There's the front door, and then share it. Please share it. Thank you.
Share, share. Thank you.